Hello and welcome to Stamping Cat Crew. Today we're going to make this super cute wood crate, fresh treats treat box. So have it laying down so that you can actually see it with the magic of the camera, but obviously it sets up like this. So we've used a wood crate die. I'm going to set this aside. This is the die that goes with it. And this is the stamp set that we'll be using. And this is actually for one of the Stampin' Cat Crew color challenges. So this is the Woodward stamp set. And the parts that I used was Hello Friend and Fresh Treats. And we also used the little chicken that's over here. This is the die cut we used. So we've cut out 2 of this wood crate. What I've done is I've added adhesive with the sticky strip. So I cut off a piece of the sticky strip and cut it in half and then put it on each. And I like to put it towards the part that's going to come together instead of towards the inside here so that you can have an opening. I put it towards the very edge so that it will give it a nice seal. We've done 2 of those like that. And then on the part that it's going to fit inside, I put a length of it along the edge so that when you close up the bottom, it's going to be closed right along the seam here. I'm going to show you how to assemble that in a minute. The only other die that we used from the set was the one from the chicken, and we've pre-stamped it in So Saffron, and then I've done a little piece of the red for the back, and then we've done something with the markers so that it gives a little definition to the chicken. So I'm going to set those pieces aside, and I'll show you how to assemble the crate. So as I showed you, we did the adhesive already. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the bottom together. So this is the tear and tape. It is super strong adhesive, which I love anytime I'm doing like a 3-dimensional project. So and that's the only part we really need to attach down. And then both of these pieces that fold up, we want those to be on the inside. So I'm going to, one side at a time, take off the sticky strip from each of those. I'm going to fold those inside, and then I'm going to close that up, and we want to have our ends even, just like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, where we ran the little sticky strip. Remove the top covering. And then it's just a matter of really holding it in place exactly where you want it to be. Now what I did different for the backing on this right here so that you have a white portion of the fence that sticks up, I actually cut another piece, and this is the die cut that we used. And so really all I did, it's this direction, was cut it just like this. And then I'll show you how that's going to work. I took a pair of paper snips, and you can see there's actually a little score right here, and we want to cut right along that score line, and it leaves just enough of a strip right there to hold the fence together and to have it stand up. I'm going to do that. And then you can barely see it, but there's a little bit of a score line that's down below. And so I'm going to cut that right there. And that's part that's going to go inside the fence line. I'm going to take that. I'm going to run a little bit of the multi-purpose glue along the very edge. And since this is the front facing piece, and we want that to be hidden on the inside, then we want to make it sure and put a little bit of dab of glue along the back side, right along the edge there. And then it's going to be right on the inside. And it's going to attach just like that. So we're going to set that aside and let that dry. And then one of the things we did with the chicken is I'm going to just give him a little bit of glue right on the top to put our two pieces together. And we wanted to layer it just a little bit forward and up so that you can see a hint of a red around the inside, and that gives him some definition around the white background and sticking up in the air. Then we have our Stampin' Right markers. I have a real red and I have the basic black, and I took the pointy end of the real red, and you can see his little outline of his beak right here. And so I'm going to give him a little red beak, and then on the fine tip, there's a brush tip and a fine tip. On the fine tip, just to give him a little more definition, I added an eyeball so that you could really tell he was a chicken, because obviously he's shaped like a chicken, but I wanted to add the extra color. So I've pre-stamped the two sentiments that we're going to add, and I like things that are popped up. So I have the dimensionals here. I'm going to take those, I'm going to put them on the back of each of the things that I've pre-stamped. And I typically have half-inch strips that I end up with or keep a bin of in different colors. So the Marina Mist is a 1/2 inch. I stamped the Hello Friend, and then I just barely cut along the edge. And you can see I've left a little longer strip off to the right, and that's because our chicken is going to set just about here on our strip when we attach that. And then the Fresh Treats is stamped on a 1/2 inch white strip in real red. The final part that we did, it was the Lemon Lime Twist. And this is one of the new in colors. And I did 1/2 inch pieces and then ran it through. We used to have a kind of a corrugated crinkling thing, but you can also do the same thing with a paper trimmer. But I wanted to use something that was our colors. So I did 1/2 inch strips and then ran it through. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to simply kind of scrunch up a bunch of it. And like I said, there's actually quite a few paper trimmers out that will give you that kind of shredded paper look that we're looking for. So I'm going to set that aside. We're going to attach our little pieces here. One of the things I like to do is add a little bit of adhesive on each end that's going to be attached to our paper. I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive to the back of our chicken so that he can sit where he needs to be. And he's going to be just about there. And that's really the flat part that's going to be attached down. I'm going to take off the piece of Stampin' Dimensional. And he kind of goes off the paper and around right like that. And so you have him popped up right here. And then I always like to really give the ends a nice little flag up like that. So same thing for the Fresh Treats. We're just going to add a tiny bit of adhesive on each end and remove the pop. And it's really just kind of setting right there. And then same thing, we're going to curve up those ends like that. And then you have the dimensional underneath. So this is the grass that we flagged. Stick this inside. And then if you really play with that, you can get it to look actually really nice. And then you have your treats in there too and whatnot. But this is our finished. And then what I did on the one that I made is I took a very 1/8 inch strip of white and ran it right along the back. And you can see that I've done that here. And that just gives it some extra strength. It stands up just fine, but after a while, because of the weight here, you'll want to do something to strengthen that. So add some treats, and that's it. Again, that was the wood crate. This is the die cuts that we used. And then this is the Woodward stamp set. And it was for our Stampin' Cat Crew Color Challenge. And it was Real Red, So Saffron, and the Lemon Lime Twist. So thanks so much for stopping by, and happy creating.